In northern Mexico, there's a stretch of desert where radios sometimes stop working, navigation becomes unreliable, and people occasionally lose their sense of directions. Locals call it the zone of silence. It isn't known for ghosts or haunted buildings. It's known for something simpler. It's known for the way the land quietly refuses to behave like the rest of the world. Welcome back to Supernatural Signals, where today we're tuning in into the story of the Zone of Silence. Let's begin by describing where the zone is located exactly. It lies near Mapami Biosphere Reserve, spanning parts of Durango, Chihuahua, and Coahuila. It's wide, flat desert with little visual variation, so long distances and few landmarks, and it spans about 30 miles total. The kind of place where small problems can quickly become noticeable, especially if communication fails. Now, long before the zone had a name, there's an early story tied to the region that dates back to the 1930s, during the early days of aviation. According to regional aviation accounts, a pilot flying over the Mapimi Desert experienced a sudden loss of radio communication mid flight. At the time, radio silence wasn't just inconvenient, it was dangerous. The pilot later reported that his radio stopped functioning without warning, backup systems failed shortly after, and navigation became unreliable. Once he exited the area, communication returned to normal, and no mechanical issue was found within the aircraft. The zone of silence entered a wider awareness in 1970 when a U.S. test missile launched from Utah veered off course and crashed in this remote region of Mexico. Recovery teams sent to retrieve the missile reported communication failures, loss of radio contact, and navigation issues. At first, it was treated as a technical problem, but when researchers spoke with locals, they realized similar issues had been happening for years. The incident deepened local legends, helping turning the location into the Zone of Silence, a desert bound Bermuda Triangle that soon drew UFO seekers and curious travelers. Now, most reports from the zone are surprisingly practical. Visitors commonly describe radios cutting out, GPS units losing signal, compasses behaving unpredictably, and electronics malfunctioning and then working again later. Some people also report disorientation, head pressure, and losing track of time. Now, what's important is what doesn't happen. Because most people don't report fear, apparitions, or threatening encounters, the zone feels less hostile and more uncooperative. Now, as you probably guessed it, as interest in the area grew, stories naturally followed. One of the most well known involves three pale white haired individuals who are said to appear to travelers in distress. According to local retellings, the figures appear suddenly, they speak calmly and briefly, they offer water, directions, or help, and then they leave. And in many versions, the people realize the figures are gone moments after reaching safety. One story often shared involves a traveler whose vehicle broke down after his radio stopped working. As the heat worsened, three quiet strangers reportedly appeared, gave him water, and pointed him toward a nearby road. Another tells of a farmer whose truck stalled in the desert. He claimed three individuals helped get it running again, then disappeared before he could properly thank them. There are no official records tied to these encounters, but they do exist as local anecdotes passed along over time. Now, it is important to go into the scientific ideas about the zone. Scientists studying the region point to several possible explanations: magnetic minerals in the soil and meteorite fragments, These could explain signal disruptions and navigation issues, but they don't explain every experience. Alrighty, so before we close this out, let's jump into my own thoughts and theories about this case. So, why does the zone of silence seem to resist human expectations? One possibility is surprisingly simple. The zone makes us uncomfortable on purpose. Humans are not good with silence. We're wired to fill it, explain it, and escape it. When signals disappear, when landmarks blur, when time feels uncertain, our brains immediately assume something is wrong, that something bad might be approaching. In the modern world, that discomfort is amplified. We rely on constant connection. Being unable to contact anyone, especially in an unfamiliar place, triggers fears fast. Not because danger is guaranteed, but because uncertainty is. The zone strips that away. It removes reassurance, it removes control, and in doing so, it encourages people not to linger. What's interesting is that the place doesn't escalate. It doesn't trap people or harm them. Instead, most reports suggest the opposite. People are nudged out. That's where the stories of the three pale white haired figures become interesting. If those stories reflect anything real, they don't describe threatening beings. They describe figures that feel almost like stand ins for humanity, calm, familiar enough, just human enough to be trusted. They don't invite people deeper in, they guide them away. That suggests the goal isn't interaction, it's removal. But why? Possibly because the area is dangerous in ways we don't fully understand, or because human presence interferes with something already happening there, or maybe both. It's also possible that whatever causes the zone's behavior isn't hostile, just indifferent. And when people wander into a place that's not equipped to understand, the simple solution is to make staying uncomfortable and leaving feel like a relief. If I had to speculate, and this is speculation only, the explanation that fits most cleanly for me is non human intelligence, possibly aliens. And if that's the case, the zone isn't a warning and it isn't a mystery meant to be solved. To me, it's a boundary. And the discomfort, the silence, and even the strange helpers may all serve the same quiet purpose. So, the zone of silence isn't haunted in the traditional sense. It doesn't chase people away. It's just a simple reminder that not every place on Earth behaves the way we expect, and that sometimes the land itself sets the rules. Whether the stories are folklore, coincidence, or something hard to explain, the zone remains what it's always been, a quiet stretch of desert where things don't always work the way they should. Alrighty, thank you for listening, and please leave a comment down below about this case. And thank you for listening, and as always, stay curious and stay tuned into the supernatural. Thanks for watching.